Your original hometown dealer, Saida, Trudeau Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram.
This morning was the hearing for SB259, a bill introduced in the Senate that affects Nevada wineries. And today was public testimony and support going over the bill in that committee. So I went down there this morning and testified in support of the bill. It is the goal of every winery located in our great state to have more wineries, to make wineries strong and have more wineries in our industry. The addition of an additional tasting room is a common practice in our neighboring states. It makes sense to have a winery's production facility near the vineyards. Land is less expensive, building costs are less, labor costs are also less. The problem with having a tasting room located in rural areas, there are very few customers.
Between 2003 and 2019, my wife and I owned the Pahrump Valley Winery in Pahrump, of all places, and we grew it into the largest winery in the state. To kind of give you a little background, in 2008, we released the first 100 cases of Nevada red wine ever commercially produced in the state. When we sold the winery in 2019, we were up to producing approximately 2,500 to 3,000 cases of Nevada wine per year. And the vineyards that we were working with, different growers, had increased production to a point where we were on a path to be able to do about 5,000 or 6,000 cases of Nevada wine a year.
But there's basically four parts to this bill. The first part would allow a winery to open a second location under their existing winery license within the states. The second provision was a special designation for wineries that use Nevada grapes. There's not very many vineyards in Nevada. The largest commercial vineyard is actually in Amargosa. There's also several large vineyards up in northern Nevada that we harvest grapes from. We can't get all of our grapes out of there to cover what we need, so we do supplement that with some grapes out of California and some Washington State. But the state requires that after your first 1,000 cases sold annually, that 25% of your cases sold must be made from Nevada fruit. So, for example, we sell 1,000 cases, then we start on our second 1,000 cases that we're selling. 250 cases of that must be made from grapevines here in Nevada. It's what we do already here at Artesian Cellars. We actually harvested about 25 tons of Nevada grapes these last 2 years, and we look to harvest hopefully that much again this summer. But there are certain wineries that don't have the ability to get that fruit very easily, so they tend to buy fruit out of California. This provision is intended to, let's say, offer an incentive for them to promote and use Nevada vineyards in their wine. One of the provisions is to raise it to 2,000 cases. That gives wineries a little bit more financial flexibility as vineyards get developed. It takes a long time for a vineyard to get up and going to be actually viable. From the first time you put a grapevine in the ground, it's about 4 years before you actually start harvesting that grapevine. And if they're red grapevines, for red grapes like a Cabernet Sauvignon, it's at least another 2 years before you're able to sell that product. So you're looking at 6 years of expense in getting that vineyard up and going. So by increasing that cap, it does allow them to sell a little bit more wine while these vineyards are growing in the state. Cider is considered wine, even though it's not made with grapes. It's actually made with fruit, primarily apples. So they have a very good cider product down there in Las Vegas, and they want to put that into distribution. They're getting demand and requests for it in various bars in the Las Vegas area. Well, under the current provision, that cider counts against their wine grape cap of Nevada fruit. It doesn't make a lot of sense because it doesn't use wine grapes. So the provision in this new bill, SB259, is to separate cider out into its own category and allow a winery to produce 150 barrels of cider annually without affecting or having to have any Nevada fruit in it. Hopefully we get more apple orchards planted in this state. You never know. As part of the provisions in this bill, it's the ability for the Department of Agriculture to create a special designation that wineries can put on their bottles that designates that the wine made in that bottle was made with Nevada grapes.